Let's take a look at where we're at in the SBF trial. Welcome back, everyone. Haven't looked at the SBF trial in a couple of weeks. Figured why not? It's coming to a close. Let's dive into it and see where we're at. The trial of the former CEO of the defunct crypto exchange FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried, is gradually coming to an end. The defendant faces up to 110 years if found guilty of all charges by members of the jury. For the people who may not remember, FTX was shilled by people like Kevin O'Leary, was shilled by people like Tom Brady. So they definitely had a lot of attention, and due to the star power backing it, it seemed right, like it was legit. Anyways, we all know how this ended, but I just think it's funny because so many people trust or assume to trust because somebody is successful. And of course, our definition of success is material success, right? Like that's the only thing we have, because we can't really measure spiritual success. Like an individual can measure their own emotional success, right? How they feel, about their emotions, right? Are they satisfied? Do they have control over their emotions? Do they understand that their emotions don't rule their lives, right? All of these things, they're completely intangible. So the only thing we have as a measure is the tangible. So it's just so funny because let's face it, right? Just because somebody is really good at accumulating assets doesn't mean that they're not a complete piece of crap. Just saying. It's one that. Anyways, okay, let's keep going here. Time for a verdict in the Sam Bankman-Fried case. The prosecution and defense were both able to give their closing arguments on November 1st, thereby paving the way for the jury to begin deliberating on a verdict for each charge starting on November 2nd. When Bankman-Fried's case began 4 weeks ago, the prosecution's opening argument was clear and concise, as they alleged that the defendant misappropriated customer funds, and he knew what he was doing. On the other hand, the defense argued that he acted in good faith and that he didn't defraud anyone, even though in our previous clips, we actually showed the video where Caroline Ellison is sitting there explaining how they just have absolutely no idea what they were doing and that they were just shuffling money around. And in most cases, they had no idea how much money was actually being lost. Anyways, it's just brutal. So the prosecution was the first to give its closing arguments, with which Assistant U.S. Attorney Ross handled. The prosecutor first alluded to how Bankman-Fried's pyramid of deceit came to light about a year ago when customers were unable to withdraw their funds following a bank run on the crypto exchange. He stated that over time, it became clear that the defendant was responsible for the exchange's collapse and that he spent his customers' money and lied about it. As to where it went, the defendant used these funds to cover expenses, purchase properties, and make political donations. Mark Cohen took the closing argument for the defense. He stated that there was no criminal intent in Bankman-Fried's part and noted that none of the witnesses testified that the defendant told them to violate the law. According to him, Bankman-Fried acted in good faith and that any mistake he made along the way cannot be taken as a crime. So this is kind of interesting, right? Because this is where it gets into a slippery slope. So okay, we'll address a couple of issues. The first one being, that Sam Bankman-Fried didn't outright tell them to commit a crime, right? The people that were working for him. So if he didn't tell you to outright commit a crime, but it's implied and you commit the crime on behalf of the company, that's still a crime. And I get it, right? Because the whole point is that they're trying to specifically show Sam Bankman-Fried's guilt or lack thereof, right? Or innocence. If Sam Bankman-Fried goes to jail, right? Does that incentivize him to whistleblow on the politicians that took donations? I mean, we kind of already have a clear record of which entities took donations from him, but is there any possibility of a backlash, right? So maybe he doesn't go to jail, or maybe he only serves, which will be the most likely case, a very small fraction, a very small portion of his time. Here we go. Here's an article out of CBS News. Public records of Bankman-Fried's money show it primarily went to support Democratic committees and candidates. He donated $6 million to the House Majority PAC, the main outside group supporting House Democrats. He also gave $25,000 to the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee and $66,500 to the Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee. The bulk of his political donations, $27 million, bankrolled the Protect Our Future PAC, a group advocating for pandemic preparedness. So I got to be honest. I don't know if he donated to the. I don't know if he necessarily donated to the right people. I know that he donated to Democrats and Republicans, but obviously way more money to Democrats. The question is, did he donate to the right people, and did he donate enough? Did he donate enough that he won't serve any jail time? That's the that's the big question. And the reason why I think that is because I think if he gets jail time, I for some reason have a feeling that more information is going to come out. So I think right now we're watching a show, and I always say this. I can't help it because ever since. I don't know, ever since like my mid-teens or something like that, I always just feel like we're watching a show, and this is exactly it, right? Like he made a whole bunch of donations to very powerful people. He was involved with some very powerful people. His parents are heavily tied to powerful people in the Democratic Party. So, and they've also worked for them. So the reality is that, is it about actual justice? Of course not. It's all about who has the best arguments and who can argue their point best, and of course, right, who can pay for the best lawyers. So, and then what really helps, the icing on the cake, is who you've donated money to. So look, do I actually think that SBF goes to jail? I'm really not sure. I'd like to say that he does go to jail because I'd like to believe that there is some type of justice that occurs. But my faith in the not just the judicial system, but just in the system as a whole is shaken, for lack of a better word. So it's been shaken for many years. So I don't really think he's going to get anything. And I think if he does, he's maybe going to serve, what is it? They're asking for 110 years. I'll be very surprised if he serves 5 years. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think. The verdict is going to be coming out soon. We're going to know. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like, subscribe. I'm going to catch you guys all next week.